Hey there, I'm Jason from Simply Swider. I fix Whirlpool washers every day, and today I'm breaking down those error codes that show up on your display. Whirlpool uses two types of error codes: active codes that display immediately when there's a problem, and stored codes hidden in the machine's memory. Each part of your washer has its own specific code. I'll show you the most common codes you'll see and exactly how to fix them yourself. Most repairs are simple once you know what the code means. For extra help, join our Simply Swider Facebook group. The link is in the description below. We answer questions there daily. Let's get your washer working again without wasting your time or money. The F21 error code, this is the one I see most often in my repair calls. When this pops up, your Whirlpool washer can't drain properly, or it's taking way too long to empty. First places to check are your drain hose and drain pump. The drain hose problems are usually simple fixes. Look for frozen hose in winter, clogs from lint or debris, kinks where the hose bends, improper installation, shouldn't be higher than 96 inches from floor. If it's the drain pump, things get a bit more complicated. Check for foreign objects like coins, buttons, or small clothing items. Lint buildup blocking the impeller, electrical issues. Use a multimeter to test for continuity. One thing people overlook: using too much detergent. Those extra suds can trick the machine into thinking it's not draining when it's just fighting through foam. Here's what works for most people in our Simply Swider Facebook group. Clean the drain filter. It's usually at the bottom front of the machine behind a small access panel. 5 minutes of your time could save you from calling a repair service. The F22 and F5E3 error codes both point to door lock problems. When you see F22, it means your washer tried to lock the door 6 times and couldn't do it. This is important because your Whirlpool washer won't spin unless that door is securely locked. The F5E3 code is the opposite problem. The door won't unlock. You might see DU on your display, but the machine stores it as F5E3 in its memory. What causes these? Usually it's a worn-out door latch or lock assembly, damaged wiring to the lock mechanism, door and lock not lined up properly, clothes caught between the door and seal machine, overloaded with too many items. The fixes are pretty straightforward. First, check if anything's stuck in the door. Make sure the door closes smoothly without forcing it. Look at the alignment. Sometimes the hinges get bent. Check the wiring connections for any damage. In many cases, you can fix this by simply unplugging the machine for 2 minutes and plugging it back in. This resets the control board and often solves the lock confusion. The F03 E01 error code means your washer can't figure out how much water is in the tub. 9 times out of 10, it's the water level pressure switch that's failed. That's the part that tells your machine when to stop filling. Start with the simplest fix. Unplug your washer for a full minute. This resets the computer and often solves what might just be a software glitch. If that doesn't work, you need to check the pressure switch and its connected air hose. Look for kinks in the small air tube, debris or soap buildup clogging the tube, loose connections at either end. The pressure switch is usually behind the control panel. Find the small clear tube connected to it and disconnect it. Try blowing through it gently to clear any blockages. Don't forget to check the drain trap while you're at it. A clogged trap can cause pressure problems in the system. If you've tried all this and still get the error, you'll probably need to replace the pressure switch itself. It's about a $20 part and takes about 30 minutes to swap out if you're comfortable working with basic tools. The 5D, SD, or SUD error code shows up when your washer thinks there's too much foam inside. When this happens, your cycle will run longer because the machine is working overtime to break down those suds and drain properly. Most common cause: using regular detergent in an HE washer. These front loaders need specific HE detergent that produces fewer suds. If this is your problem, you'll actually see foam in the window when you look. No foam visible but still getting the code? Could be foam sensor acting up, using too much detergent, even heat detergent, clogged drain system, foam buildup in the pressure switch tube. The fix is pretty straightforward. Let the current cycle finish. It'll take longer, but the machine is trying to fix the problem. Switch to HE detergent if you aren't using it. Use less detergent. Most people use way too much. Run a cleaning cycle with hot water and no detergent to flush the system. I just fixed this exact problem last week for a customer who was using twice the recommended amount of detergent. Switch to the correct amount of HE detergent and problem solved. The F9 E01 error code is another drainage problem I see all the time. When this shows up, your Whirlpool washer has been trying to drain for over 8 minutes without success. First, check your drain hose. Make sure it's not kinked, clogged with lint, or pushed too far into your standpipe. Remember, it shouldn't be more than 96 inches from the floor. That's a common mistake I see in homes. Next, look at your drain pump filter. This small part catches everything from coins to bobby pins to lint. It's usually behind a small panel at the bottom front of your washer. Take it out and rinse it thoroughly. Too much detergent is another common cause. Those extra suds can slow down drainage significantly. Try using half the amount next time and see if that helps. In my experience, this code is usually fixed in under 10 minutes. I was at Mrs. Johnson's house last week, and her F9 E01 error was just a sock stuck in the drain pump. 5 minutes of work saved her from calling a repair service. The F28 error code is what I call the communication breakdown. This happens when your washer's central control unit and motor control unit stop talking to each other. First thing to check is the wiring between these parts. Look for any loose connections, damage, or corrosion. Sometimes it's as simple as unplugging the washer for 5 minutes and plugging it back in. This resets the communication. If the connections look good, you might be dealing with a faulty control board or motor. I was at a customer's house last month where water had leaked onto the control board, causing this exact error. Unfortunately, if it's the control board, you're looking at a more expensive repair. Power surges can also trigger this code. If you've had recent electrical storms or power outages, that might be your culprit. For most DIYers, I recommend checking the connections and doing a power reset. If that doesn't work, you'll probably need a new control board, which usually requires professional installation. Not worth risking further damage unless you're comfortable with electrical components. The F70 error code shows up when your Whirlpool washer has a communication breakdown. The main control board can't talk to the user interface. Some models show F71 instead of F70, but it's the same problem. First thing I tell my customers, unplug your washer for a full minute. This simple reset fixes about 30% of these errors, especially after power outages or surges. If that doesn't work, you'll need to check the wiring. Look for any damaged wires or loose connections between the control panel and the main board. Sometimes it's just a connector that's worked itself loose over time. When I was fixing Mrs. Thompson's washer last month, her F70 code was caused by a wire that had gotten pinched during a previous repair. Once I replaced that wire, her machine worked perfectly again. If resetting and checking wires doesn't solve it, you might need a new control board or user interface. These parts aren't cheap, but replacing them is still less expensive than buying a new washer. There are dozens of other error codes you might see on your Whirlpool washer. Let me break down the most frequent ones I deal with. F01 points to problems with the main control board. This is the brain of your washer, so when it fails, nothing works right. Usually requires replacing the board, which costs about $100 to $150 plus labor. F5E2 means your door isn't locking properly. Check the door strike for debris or damage. Also, look at the lock mechanism itself. The small plastic tabs break easily after a few years of use. LF or lower FL shows up when your washer is taking too long to fill. First thing I check is the water supply. Make sure both hot and cold water valves are fully open. Then I look at the inlet screens for mineral buildup. If you see DRN on the display, you've got a drainage issue similar to the F21 code we talked about earlier. Start by checking the drain hose and filter. LDL or LDU indicates lid locking or unlocking problems. The lid switch assembly wears out over time and sometimes just needs a good cleaning or replacement. I've fixed hundreds of these issues, and in most cases, these codes save you time by telling exactly where to look first. They're basically your washer's way of saying, hey, look here first. That covers the most common Whirlpool washer error codes you'll run into. Keep in mind these codes might vary slightly between different models, so check your manual if something doesn't match up. Look, I know some of these fixes sound simple when I explain them, but if you're not comfortable taking apart your machine or using tools, don't risk making things worse. There's no shame in calling a pro when you need one. Got an error code I didn't cover or need more specific help? Our Simply Swider Facebook group is full of repair pros who can help with your exact model. Links in the description. We answer questions daily and it's completely free. This is Jason from Simply Swider. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next repair.